Good morning, students. Today's lesson is The Tiger King, written by Kalki. Kalki is a Tamil writer. His full name is Ramaswamy Krishnamurthy, and he was born in 1899 and died in 1954. He is a famous writer in Tamil. He was a journalist, poet, and short story writer, critic, and Indian independence activist. He was named after Kalki Avatar, the 10th and last avatar of Hindu god Vishnu. So before you read, see this first question that is given in your textbook. What is the general attitude of human beings towards wild animals? So it is a political satire. Satire means something is written in a humorous manner just to focus upon the current political activities or political incidents. That is why the Tiger King, it is called a political satire. A satire on the conceit of those in power. Most of the time, the ruler are not interested in saving the people or work of the welfare of the public. Instead, they spend their time in foolish pursuit. Here is a story about transience of life, of power, and reverberations of maxims. The story revolves around the king whose death at the hands of a tiger had been foretold by an astrologer when he was born. He tries to reverse the fate spelled out of him, and the author uses thinly veiled satire to walk the reader through the king's attempts, which later prove futile, in a manner that makes them laugh. So first of all, see the text. The Maharaja of Pratibandhapuram is the hero of this story. He may be identified as His Highness Jamidar General Khiledar Major Satta Vigyara Samahari Maharaja Dhiraj Vishwa Bhuvana Samrat Sir Jilani Jang Bahadur MAD ACTC or CRCK, but this name is often shortened to the Tiger King. Means those names are invented by the author just to make a humor of his name. So the short name is the Tiger King. So here the author gives his own opinion about the story. I have come forward to tell you why he came to be known as Tiger King. I have no intention of pretending to advance only to end the strategic withdrawal. Even the threat of Stuka bomber will not throw me off track. The Stuka, if it likes, can beat a hasty retreat from my story. Here he means that the author wants to highlight the characteristics of the Tiger King, and he is not going to make it short. He is going to elaborate it in details what happened with the Tiger King. And here he mentions the Stuka bomber, means it is a Japanese bomber that was used during Second World War. So Stuka bomber means a Japanese bomber. So right at the start, it is imperative to disclose a matter of vital importance about the Tiger King. Everyone who reads of him will experience the natural desire to meet a man of his indomitable courage face to face. But there is no chance of this fulfillment. As Bharata said to Rama about Dasharatha, the Tiger King has reached the final abode of all living creatures. In other words, the Tiger King is dead. So, as Bharata informed Rama about the death of Dasharatha, similarly, here the author wants to emphasize upon that nobody can be immortal, and similarly, the Tiger King, he also dead. The manner of his death is matter of extraordinary interest. But the fact is that how did the Tiger King die? This is the main focus on of the story. It can be revealed only at the end of the tale. Means at the end it will be disclosed how the Tiger King was killed. The most fantastic aspect of his demise was that as soon as he was born, astrologers had foretold that one day the Tiger King would actually have to die. Means the Tiger King would die, but in some different manner. So the astrologer, they did not like to disclose how the king would die. The child will grow up to become the warrior of warriors, hero of heroes, champion of champions. But they bit their lips and swallowed hard. Means they keep their lips tight. They didn't like to pronounce what they thought. When compelled to continue, the astrologer came out with it. This is a secret which should not be revealed at all, and yet we are forced to speak out. The child born under this star will one day have to meet his death. But still, the astrologers, they are not opening their mouths. How would the king die? Because it was a matter of life and death of the king, so the astrologer, they did not like to utter any word about his death or how he would die. At that very moment, a great miracle took place. An astonishing phrase emerged from the lips of 10-day-old Jilani Jung Jung Bahadur, a wise prophet. Oh, wise prophet! Everyone stood transfixed in stupefaction. Stupefaction. They looked wildly at each other and blinked. Means the king at his childhood, I mean that he was simply an infant. He was 10 days old. And the astrologer, they were talking in front of him. Immediately a miracle happened, and it almost made everyone spellbound. Means the child prince, he uttered some words. He simply addressed the astrologers, "O wise prophets." Everyone stood transfixed and stupefaction. They looked wildly at each other and blinked. Again he said, "O wise prophets, it was I who spoke." This time there were no grounds for doubt. It was the infant born just 10 days ago with a hand enunciated the words so clearly. Means it is really a miracle, because a 10-day child, even it cannot utter any sound, but it spoke. The chief astrologer took off his spectacles and gazed intently at the baby. The chief astrologer, he was in a fix what to do. He took off his spectacles and gazed at the child with a mere admiration. All those who are born will one day have to die. We don't need your prediction to know that. There would be some sense in it if you could tell us the manner of that date. The royal infant uttered these words in his little squeaky voice. So everyone is to die, then certainly how the how the king would die, that is the thing that the child wants to know. The chief astrologer placed his finger on his nose in wonder. A baby barely 10 days old opens its lips in speech. Not only that, it also raises intelligent questions, incredible, rather like the bulletins issued by the War Office than facts. So that was quite incredible. Everyone remained surprised. The chief astrologer took his finger on his nose and fixed his eyes upon the little prince. The prince was born in hour of bull. The bull and the tiger are enemies. Therefore, that comes from the tiger, he explained. So, as per the belief of the people, that means still we Indian people believe upon astrology. So, astrology, that means in many places the marriage or all the auspicious works are done according to the faith in astrology. So, the star sign shows that the king was born in the hour of bull, and the bull and the tiger are enemies. Therefore, the death of the king comes from the tiger. You may think that Crown Prince Zangjang Bahadur was thrown into a quake when he heard the word tiger. That was exactly what did not happen. As soon as he heard it pronounced, the Crown Prince gave a deep growl. Terrifying word emerged from his lips. Let tigers be aware means the 10 days old child warns the tiger that the tiger should they should be aware of the king, because he was not going to spare any tiger in his kingdom. That is why from the very beginning, that means in his childhood, in his infancy, he declared the tiger should be beware. This account is only rumor rife in Pratibandhapuram, but with a hindsight we may conclude it was based on some truth. Means this account may be a rumor, but in Pratibandhapuram, the hindsight that we may conclude it was based on some truth means the astrological foretelling or astrological forecast that there is a truth, nobody can deny it. Then part 2. Crown Prince Zangjang Bahadur grew taller and stronger day by day. No other miracle marked his childhood days apart from the event already described. The boy drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, tutored by English by an Englishman, saw nothing but English films exactly as the Crown Princess, all the other Indian state did. When he came of age at 20, the state which had been with the court of words until then came into his hands. And ultimately, the prince, while his age was 20, he took the reign of that administration of the state. And the prince, here you can see the read and find out what did the royal infant grow up to be. Means the crown prince, he was brought up in such a way that he drank the milk of an English cow, was brought up by an English nanny, means completely in English fashion. Completely in English fashion, the baby was brought up. And the author here, he gives a hints about that mentality of people. Means still we have the belief that the English culture is superior to our own culture. That is why the rich people still they go for English education, English lifestyle, everything. Do you know why is it? It is because of that English rulers ruled our country and we tried to follow them. And still it is going on among the people, those who are well to do. But everyone in the kingdom remembered the astrologer's prediction. Many continued to discuss the matter. Slowly it came to the Maharaja's ears. And people, while the Tiger King, while the prince became the king and known as Tiger King, people talked about that prediction that was made at his childhood days. There were innumerable forests in Pratibandhapuram state. They had tigers in them. The Maharaja knew the old saying, "You may kill even a cow in self defense." There could certainly be no objection to killing tigers in self defense. The Maharaja started out on a tiger hunt. So, that Pratibandhapuram, it was, there were innumerable forests, and the forest were filled with many tigers. And the Maharaja, he knew the old saying, and he had the idea that means you can even kill a cow in self-defense. Therefore, the king, he would have no sin if he kills tigers for his self-defense. Therefore, he had started out on a tiger hunt. The Maharaja was thrilled beyond measures. When he killed his first tiger, he sent for the state astrologer and showed him the dead beast. Means he wanted to make it clear that whatever was written as per the astrological calculation, that these things are not going to happen. And that is why while he killed the first tiger, he called that state astrologer and showed him the dead beast. "What do you say now?" he demanded. "Your Majesty may kill 99 tigers in exactly the same manner, but," the astrologer drawled. "But what? Speak out, speak without fear. But you must be very careful with the 100 tiger." Means he could kill 99 tigers, but the 100 tiger, it could be the life factor for the king, because he clearly told that the 100 tiger may kill him. What if the 100 tiger were also killed? Then I will tear up all my books on astrology, set fire to them, and I shall cut off my tuft, crop my hair short, and become an insurance agent. The astrologer finished on an incoherent note. Means the astrologer was so confident. The astrologer was so confident that if the king was not killed by the 100 number tiger, then certainly he would tear up all his books on astrology and set them fire. And ultimately, he would crop his hair, he'd cut his stuff, and he would become an insurance agent. So here the author wants to show that when a person has no option, he becomes an insurance agent. Now part 3. From that day onwards, it was celebration time for all the tigers inhabiting Pratibandhapuram. And the tiger was in celebration time. Why? Because the king prohibited killing of tigers in Pratibandhapuram. Because the tigers remained over there, all those should be the victim of the king. The state banned tiger hunting by anyone except the Maharaja. A proclamation was issued to the effect that if anyone dared to fling so much as a stone at tiger, all his wealth and property would be confiscated. Means if anyone tried to throw a stone at any tiger, then his property would be confiscated, his property would be seized. The Maharaja vowed he would attend to all other matters only after killing the 100 tigers. Initially, the king seemed well set to realize his ambition, and the Maharaja had promised that he would not look after any other state matters unless and until he killed the last tiger, means the 100 tiger. Not that he faced no dangers. There were times when the bullet missed his mark. The tiger leaped upon him and he fought the beast with his bare hands. Each time it was the Maharaja who won. Means the Tiger King was so strong that even after any bullet missed the tiger, he would fight with the king in free hand, and surely the Tiger King would win. At another time, he was in danger of losing his throne. A high-ranking British officer visited Pratibandhapuram. He was very fond of hunting tigers and fonder of being photographed with the tigers he had shot. As usual, he wished to hunt tigers in Pratibandhapuram, but the Maharaja was firm in his resolve. He refused permission. I can organize any other hunt. You may go on a boar hunt. You may conduct a mouse hunt. We are ready for mosquito hunt, but tiger hunt, that's impossible. So, the Tiger King, he refused to permit the high-ranking British officer to kill a tiger in Pratibandhapuram because the desire of the British officer was that he would kill a tiger and he would get a photograph with that dead tiger. And very often we see in some aristocratic families the tiger hunters are there with the carcass of the tiger, and the Britishers, British high ranking officers, whenever they came to India, they had this passion, that means killing a tiger and getting a photograph. And not only the Tiger King refused to give permission, but he also made fun with the high ranking British officers that the Tiger King may arrange hunting of boar or any other thing, even mosquito or mouse, but allowing to kill tiger, that's impossible. The British officer secretary sent word to the Maharaja through the Diwan that the Durai himself, Durai means here the chief, himself did not have to kill the tiger. The Maharaja could do the actual killing. What was important to that Durai was a photograph of himself holding the gun and standing over the tiger's carcass. But the Maharaja would not agree even to this proposal. If he relented now, what would he do if other British officers turned up for tiger hunt? So there was a message sent to the Maharaja by the secretary of British officers that he did not allow him to kill a tiger. If any higher British officer comes and wants to kill a tiger from his forest, then what would he do? If he relented now, what would do if other British officers turn up for tiger hunt? Means There may be some other higher officers also, even the governor. They may come to kill tiger from Patibandapuram. But the king, if the king refused, then certainly there may be some adverse effect. Because he prevented the British officer from fulfilling his desire, the Maharaja stood in a danger of losing his kingdom itself. And now the king was in the verge of losing his kingdom because if because he contradicted with the British officer, therefore his kingdom may be taken over by the Britishers. The Maharaja and the Diwan held deliberation about this issue. The Diwan and the Maharaja, they thought about the issue, what to do. As a result, the telegram was dispatched forthwith to a famous British company of jewelers in Calcutta. Send sample of expensive diamond rings of different designs. Means to a jewelry shop, British jewelry shop in Calcutta, an order was placed that they should send 50 samples of costly diamond rings of different design. Some 50 rings arrived. The Maharaja sent the whole lot to the British officer's good lady. The king and the minister expected the Duraisani, means that the wife of that British officer, to choose one or two rings and send the rest back. Within no time at all, the Duraisani sent her reply, "Thank you very much for your gifts." But she didn't do so. She kept all those 50 rings and only sent one message of thanks. In 2 days, a bill for 3 lakh of rupees came from the British dwellers. The Maharaja was happy that though he had lost 3 lakh rupees, he had managed to retain his kingdom. So, almost no doubt the king had lost 3 lakh, but after all, the kingdom was saved. Now here you can see that the small kingdoms which were there in India, while the Britishers occupied some of the states, the British government always in the eye of occupying the other states, and they were looking for some excuse so that they could take over the kingdoms. And Lord Dalhousie, he had a policy that was known as lapse of doctrine. You might have known. Means if any king he had no issue or no children, son, the kingdom would go under British rule. So let us conclude today. We'll continue with the fourth part. So you'll be given some homework on these 3 parts. So in the next class, you will have these questions, do them and submit through Google Classroom. Thank you. Have a nice day.